Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. And this is going to be a review of last night's edition of Dynamite, which was the April 15th edition. And last night's Dynamite, I thought it was a okay show. Wasn't the best Dynamite, wasn't a great show by any means, but it was an okay show. So last night we had Lance Archer versus Colt Cabana in the tournament match for the TNT Championship. We also saw Britt Baker versus Cassandra Golden. Sammy Guevara took on Suge D, I think that's how you pronounce his name. And in the main event, we saw the hyped up match, Jon Moxley versus Jake Hager in a empty arena, no holds barred match for the AEW World Championship. But overall, I thought Dynamite was an okay show, like I said. So let's get started with the Dynamite review. So Dynamite opened up last night with Jake the Snake Roberts. And he was hyping up Lance Archer, his client, Lance Archer. And he ended up saying that when he walks into a place, he commands attention, Lance Archer. Jake Roberts believed that Archer is going to enjoy the tournament. And he ended up saying that Colt Cabana has skills. But those skills are not enough to beat the animal that is Lance Archer. So then after that promo from Jake Roberts, which was a little decent promo from Roberts, it cut to Tony Shivani and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, once again, was joining commentary with Tony Schiavone, just like last week. Jericho this week was, of course, awesome on commentary. He was just as entertaining and good as he was last week. So it was a thrill to hear Jericho once again on commentary. And then after that, we had a promo from Colt Cabana. And it was about, being the expectations of some individuals. He said, he realizes he can be a bit over the top, but he knows that he can be a winner. He ends up saying Lance Archer has been dominant overseas, but he has been doing the same thing for many, many years. Cabana said that he's gambling on himself and also gambling to become the TNT champion. So, it was a decent promo from Colt Cabana. And then we had the match, the TNT Championship Tournament match, Lance Archer versus Colt Cabana. And I thought the match, was decent. Wasn't bad by any means, though. So Lance Archer ended up making his way out. He ends up taking out one of the wrestlers, one of the guys in the crowd. And Lance Archer was in the ring. He threw a shot at Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana ended up recovering. He got in moves on Lance Archer, but he was taken right back down to the canvas. Colt Cabana then ended up knocking Lance Archer to the floor. Cabana was looking to fly and take out Archer, but Archer then ended up moving out of the way. And both Cabana and Archer were back in the ring. Cabana managed to get a wrist lock on Archer. Went for a splash in the corner. Lance Archer then catched Colt Cabana in midair and sent him down to the canvas. And at the end of the match, we had Lance Archer picks up Colt Cabana and hits the blackout to Cabana. And there you go. Lance Archer ended up winning the match, advances in the tournament for the TNT Championship. So now that Lance Archer won the match, Lance Archer will have to face the winner of, Kip Sabian versus Dustin Rhodes. But overall, it was a decent match between Lance Archer and Colt Cabana. So then after that, we had a promo from Britt Baker. Britt Baker was shown at her dentist office, and Britt Baker had like a brace over her nose from a match with Hikaru Shida last week. If you remember, last week Hikaru Shida ended up busting Britt Baker, and Baker ended up bleeding. And Baker ended up talking about the rules of being a role model. She ends up saying that it's always fight fair. It was a little promo from Britt Baker. Sorry about that. But then after the Britt Baker promo, we had Ariel Helwani and Taz. Both of them were given their predictions for the Moxley versus Hager No Holds Barred match, the Empty Arena No Holds Barred match for the AEW World Championship, which was the main event. Helwani's prediction was Hager. Taz ended up picking Jon Moxley. Then we had Britt Baker versus Cassandra Golden. This was a short match. This was basically a quick women's match. Britt Baker ended up delivering a super kick to Golden. She then ended up choking Cassandra Golden on the bottom rope. And she put her teeth around the bottom rope. She put Cassandra Golden's teeth around the bottom rope. Baker ended up stomping Golden on her head down on the bottom rope, and that was that. Britt Baker ended up winning, quick victory. But overall, squash match, easy win for Britt Baker. After Baker coming off of her match last week against Hikaru Shida, which, I said in my review last week that match to me was the best match for both of them, for both Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida. So then after that match, we had the Bubbly Bunch. The Bubbly Bunch was featured the Inner Circle. You had Jericho, Santana Ortiz, Guevara, Sammy Guevara, and Jake Hager. It was basically a parody of the Brady Bunch. So the Bubbly Bunch segment here featured the Inner Circle guys, from Jericho, Santana Ortiz, Hager, and Guevara. They were hanging out at their homes, and they were talking to each other on the phone. So Santana Ortiz and Guevara end up ripping on the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. Hager was saying that he would destroy Kenny Omega, and he plans on beating the shit out of Jon Moxley. And Hager was shown sitting on like a lawn chair. He had his kids there. So Chris Jericho was shown in his kitchen, and it looked like he was making a drink. He had orange juice on him, pours the orange juice in a cup. The juice ends up spilling on the counter. And Jericho said the Inner Circle is going to kick the crap out of the Elite at Blood and Guts. And when they do, they're going to have a little bit of the bubbly. So he ends up letting his guys go, of course, the Inner Circle. And he tells them that he has to talk to his assistant. So Jericho ends up letting them go. And he talks to his assistant. And I laughed at this part. I thought this was really funny. Jericho ends up telling his assistant over the phone. Jericho goes, "I still don't have any toilet paper. Can you find me some?" Which was funny. That was a funny way to end the segment. But this was entertaining. And I liked how you saw Jericho's dogs there. But it was funny. So there you go. That was the Bubbly Bunch with the Inner Circle. So then we had Surge D versus Sammy Guevara. This match I did not even care for. So this match went back and forth between the both of them. Surge went to the second rope, did a second rope arm drag to Sammy Guevara. Surge then was doing a dance, and then Guevara ended up throwing a big knee to him. Jericho on commentary, of course, he was putting his Spanish God boy, Sammy Guevara, over on commentary. So we had a point in the match where Guevara ended up kicking the bottom rope against Surge's throat. And Sammy Guevara ended up getting the win, ends up flipping Surge over, throws a big knee to Surge's head. There you go. Sammy Guevara ended up winning the match. Post-match, Guevara ended up getting on the mic, and he ended up saying that tonight was light work, and he could go another round. So Guevara ended up saying, how about we just spoil the first round of the TNT Championship tournament? So he ended up saying, how about Sammy Guevara beats the shit out of Darby Allin? So then Guevara then ends up stomping away at Surge, a bit more. Darby Allin then runs out to the ring to chase off Guevara. And pretty much that was basically that. So my prediction of the TNT Championship winner, it's going to be Darby Allin. Darby Allin, I think, my prediction, he's going to win the TNT Championship. No doubt about it. I may be wrong on that, but that's my prediction. But overall, did not care for this match against Surge D and Sammy Guevara. And then we had Kip Sabian versus Chuck Taylor. Kip Sabian came out along with Penelope Ford, who they both are now engaged. So congrats to them. Of course, Chuck Taylor came out with freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. So the match to me, this was another match didn't really care for. Wasn't a good match by any means. So the match started with both Sabian and Chucky T getting in wrist locks. Taylor ended up delivering a leg takedown into a leg crab, but Kip Sabian ended up getting to the ropes for the break. There was a point in the match where Penelope Ford had to help Sabian, but Chucky T was on the floor. Penelope Ford got involved. Penelope Ford ended up hitting Chucky T a couple of times. Referee was distracted. Penelope Ford ended up throwing Chucky T back in. When Kip Sabian went for the cover, kicked out at 2. Chucky T kicked out at 2. So, but towards the end of the match, you had Jimmy Havoc. He ended up coming over. He pulled Orange Cassidy off the apron, and he then spiked Orange Cassidy on the ground. Referee was distracted. Penelope Ford ended up hitting a Hurricanrana off the top rope onto Chucky T. Sabian ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Kip Sabian ended up winning the match with help from Penelope Ford. So that was that. Overall, did not care for this match. So then we had Shawn Spears versus Justin Law. Quick match. Shawn Spears ended up asking if his opponent is, if Justin Law is sure he wants to wrestle. Spears ended up hitting a snap mirror on Justin Law. Spears said that he'll give the guy a fighting chance. And he ended up giving him a chance to take him down. So Justin Law ended up rolling up Spears quick. Spears ended up kicking out. Spears ended up delivering a back elbow. Ended up delivering big chops to Law's chest. Spears ended up hitting a big lariat and a running C4. Went for the cover. There you go. Shawn Spears wins the match. Like I said, quick match. It was a squash match. So then, after that match, it was announced that we will see Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara and Kip Sabian versus Dustin Rhodes. 2 matches in the tournament for the TNT Championship. So we're going to get that next week. Also, a match that got announced that we're going to see next week on Dynamite is going to be Jimmy Havoc versus Orange Cassidy. So that is something to look forward to next week. Of course, Brody Lee, the Exalted One, is going to be in action next week. And they also announced that Kenny Omega is also scheduled to wrestle on Dynamite next week. So Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara in the tournament for the TNT Championship. My prediction, Darby Allin's going to be winning it. And for Kip Sabian versus Dustin Rhodes, I have to go with Dustin. And then we had the main event. The match that they were hyping up. It was Moxley versus Hager. Empty arena, no holds barred match. The AEW World Championship on the line. And Jericho ended up coming off a commentary for this match. Jim Ross, JR, was commentating only for this match. And with them, hyping this match up, the result came out as a disappointment. Yes, I was looking forward to this match, and in the end, it just became a disappointment. And why I say that is the match ended up going on way too long. There were, I think, 3 commercial breaks during this. And, like I said, it just came off as a disappointment. So Moxley ended up going for Hager's arm. Hager was focusing on Moxley's torso. Hager then got sent out to the floor. Moxley ended up delivering a splash on Hager. Moxley then ended up going to look for the cross arm breaker. Moxley was then shown throwing Hager over the barricade. And Moxley then wrapped Hager's legs around a metal pole. And Moxley went to lock in the figure 4. And Moxley was shown yelling for Hager to tap out. Hager wouldn't do it. So Hager ended up working his way back into the ring. He ended up dropping Moxley on the barricade. And Hager was sent back to ringside. And he was looking to go for the Hager bomb. Moxley ended up delivering a running knee. Hager was landing some clotheslines in the corner to Moxley. And Moxley ended up returning a clothesline to Hager. So then Hager ended up looking to dive on Moxley. Moxley ends up throwing Hager near chairs. And Hager moved. Moxley ended up crashing into the chairs. Went for the cover. Hager went for the cover. And Moxley ended up kicking out at 2. Hager takes one of the chairs and whacks Moxley's leg with the chair. Goes for the ankle lock. Moxley wasn't tapping out. And Moxley was heard yelling at Hager for him to break his leg. And he was not tapping. Moxley wasn't tapping. So, in the match, we had Moxley end up crawling over to the chair. He ends up throwing the chair at Hager's face. Moxley then end up delivering the paradigm shift to Hager. There you go. Moxley ended up winning the match, retained the AEW World Championship. But overall, match was disappointing. Like I said, went on too long. I think the match when it started, I think it started at like 9:40, and then went till 10 o'clock. I mean, there was like, or it might have been 9:30 though, but it had, all I know, it had a lot of commercial breaks. I think it maybe had like 3 commercial breaks during this match. But post-match, Moxley ended up saying to the camera, "You're not going to take it from me. This is my year. AEW is the best promotion in the world, and he is on top of it." Moxley was like, "I am on top." And so that was how Dynamite ended last night. But overall, like I said, the show was okay. Wasn't the best Dynamite. Wasn't great, though. But anyways, that's it for my review of last night's edition of AEW Dynamite. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And before I end the video, I just gotta say, today we lost one of the greatest ring announcers that WWE and the wrestling world, ever saw, and that was Howard Finkel. And he was one of the best ring announcers in WWE. And I actually met Howard Finkel 5 years ago. I think it was during a SummerSlam weekend in Brooklyn. He was a very nice guy. But rest in peace, Howard Finkel. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family. And then also want to mention we had a lot of WWE releases yesterday. We lost WWE lost quite a few of superstars and personnel there yesterday. And I'm like, after hearing that news yesterday about all those releases, I feel bad for those talent stars that got released, because now that this pandemic is still going on, they're out of work. So they got to wait until this whole outbreak is over, just to work. And without doubt, some of the superstars that WWE released yesterday, I could see some of them go into AEW. But I mean, after coming off that news yesterday and waking up to this news of Howard Finkel passing away today, it's just heartbreaking. It's like it's like dark times now in the world of pro wrestling. But anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow night with the SmackDown review. So till then, see you all tomorrow night.